So welcome to the first official episode of Questions with Coach. And I know some of you guys saw episode 0, but that was my test run to see how I liked it and see if the response would be good. And so this is the first official episode of Questions with Coach. And I'm going to go back to that same community post where I have 2 more questions I'm going to answer today. The first question came from Vito52, and he asked me to do, he said, Coach, would you do me a favor and do a film session on Yetur gross-matos? That's the defensive end from Penn State. He was number 99. I don't have the all 22 to do that film. What I did was I went and watched the Ohio State game with Yetur gross-matos, and I came up with, I'm just basically going to read you my notes to answer your question. So what I have for him is, I think he's a 4-3 defensive end. I don't think he's a 3-4 guy, like a stand-up, rush the linebacker type guy, because I don't know how well he can drop into coverage. He has a good inside move. And what I mean by good inside move is he goes upfield with speed, and when the tackle sets to try to beat him to a point, he has a good little dip and rip move up under it. That's the only move I saw him do with effectiveness, and he did it a bunch of different ways to a bunch of different people. Well, not a bunch of different people, but a bunch of different times. He sets the edge well. Does a good job of getting outside in that, if he's a 5 and in the C gap and any runs out there, he affects the play. Whether it be making a tackle or making the running back stop his feet, let the flowing linebackers come get there, or just making a muck of stuff. So he does a good job of setting the edge well. He pursues to the ball well. I saw maybe like a slant or something get thrown, and I saw him go chase it down. He didn't make the tackle, but he got in the frame like 15, 20 yards down the field. So that shows me he has a decent to high motor. And lastly, this is some of the negatives I saw about him. He's not good at splitting double teams. So every time I saw him get double teamed, I didn't see him get beat any time. But keep in mind, this is only against Ohio State. So I didn't see him split any double teams or beat any double teams versus Ohio State. And lastly, they put him inside a couple times, so he was against the guards. I didn't see him win any matchups against the guards. And I saw him in a 0 one time too, and the center kind of stalemated him. So I think he's primarily an outside guy, a 5 tech, a 7 tech, maybe a stand-up end. Maybe a stand-up end if you go 3-4. Maybe. But I really think he's a hand in the ground 4-3 defensive end. All right, moving on to my second question from Body More Dummy. He basically asked a question about Hayden Hurst. He asked if Hayden Hurst our best tight end. You'll see the actual question at the bottom of the screen. And so what I did was I just started to use some of the things he put in his comment and a few extra things to try to figure out who's our best tight end. And obviously we're looking at Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews, and Nick Boyer. So what I did was, who's the fastest guy? Hurst. It's obvious Hurst is the fastest out of the 3. Who's more physical? I think it's Boyer. I think Nick Boyer is the more physical of the 3 tight ends. That's why he gets most of the snaps when it's run situations. I think he's the more physical of the 3. I think all 3 of them are physical, but I think the most physical one is Nick Boyer. Who's the toughest? In my 2 cents, I think Andrews is the toughest. Andrews took a lot of shots, played through pain, and because he knew he was a guy. So I think Andrews is the toughest. Who has the best hands? To me, it's Andrews. And I merely say that because I'm not in practice, so I don't see how they catch the ball in practice. All I can go off is what I see in the game, and Andrews produced more in the game. Even though he played more, but he produced more too. So I got to go off Andrews. I'm not at practice every day. I don't see how they work off the jugs. I don't see what kind of work they put in after practice on their hands. So I just got to go off games. And if we're going off games, it's Andrews with the best hands. And the best blocker, again, going off games, Nick Boyer. Boyer is the best blocker. I think that's by far he's the best blocker. So that's why he's in there a lot more than Hurst. And Hurst is just called in the numbers game. Hurst not a bad tight end. I think Hurst is a pretty good tight end. He just caught in the numbers game where we got 3 good tight ends. And I think that tight end position for us is the best in the NFL when you count as a whole. Now, you have Kittle, you have Kelsey. They're probably the top 2 tight ends, but as a whole group, as a whole tight end room, I think the Ravens have the best tight end group in the NFL. Now, that answers the two questions for today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, this is Coach Evans. This is Questions from Coach. If you like it, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed for all the draft content or the Ravens content, hit the subscribe button and do that also. And click the bell notification. So when I drop a video, whether it be Questions from Coach, a draft video, or some kind of Ravens content, if you're a Ravens fan, you'll be notified. So again, this is Coach Evans from Sit the Tell It Films. I appreciate you for tuning in. With